Hi guys, welcome to Mr. Vapor Reviews. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Thrustmaster Ferrari GT Experience racing wheel and pedals for the PlayStation 3 and PC. So I bought this steering wheel because I wanted a reasonably big, good quality steering wheel that worked with my PC and my PS3 and that wasn't too expensive. So at the time I got it, it was about 30 or 40 quid, and it still would be if you got it second hand. At the moment, brand new, it's about 50 quid, which still isn't too bad. So if we go in to take a closer look, the buttons on the steering wheel all correspond to PlayStation 3 buttons. So to the right here we've got the triangle, X, square and circle buttons, which are engraved, so you might just be able to make them out on the video. Down here we've got start to the right, select to the left, and the PlayStation home button underneath. Here we've got the standard D-pad. And then at the back of the steering wheel we have two paddles, which are primarily for changing gear or whatever you want really, because they can be assigned. They represent R1 and L1 on the PlayStation controller. And then up here on either side of the steering wheels you'll see there are two buttons where your fingers will be. So the bottom of the buttons represent L3 and R3, so clicking in the analog sticks on a PS3 controller, and the top ones represent L2 and R2. So together those are all the buttons on the PlayStation 3, but in convenient places for a racing wheel. So the only other button slash switch on the steering wheel is just down here. You will see there is a switch, and if I can get the camera to focus, which at the moment I can't, it actually says PS3 and PC. It's a switch which changes between the two. Nope, the camera is refusing to focus, but basically that little red switch down there allows you to flick it between PC and PS3, and it's literally that simple. I don't think I even downloaded any drivers for this. As soon as I plugged it into my PC, it just started working with games as soon as I assigned the controls. So the only games that I know it works with are Midnight Club Los Angeles on PS3, and Need for Speed Shift on PS3, and then also Test Drive Unlimited 2 and Euro Truck Simulator on PC. I know I've been told that it definitely works with Dirt 3 and probably the other Dirt games, and I also know it does work with Driver San Francisco, but shifting is really damn difficult. So the other part of the product are down here. Excuse the massive mass of wires underneath my computer. So these are the pedals, fairly simple. There's no clutch or anything, because obviously you only tend to get that with like £200 or £300 pedal sets. But it's a simple, they're good quality pedals. They're thick, robust plastic, and they have a nice feel to them when you push them down. You tend to need to wedge the kind of platform somewhere, so I've wedged it slightly under my desk, because if you don't wedge it then the whole thing tends to move when you're aggressively pressing the pedals. But once you've wedged it and not in the cables, the pedals do behave nicely. Big enough as well that even if your feet are small or big, they should be easy to press. For some reason the camera's focusing on my foot. Anyway, so I'm now going to move on to a quick bit of gameplay of me playing Test Drive Unlimited 2. So obviously the quality is not going to be amazing because it's just going to be a recording of the screen, but it's really just to show how it works really. It's fairly self-explanatory. Oh, and the one final thing is that the pedals plug into the steering wheel via this cable here, the smaller of the two. That actually pulls out. I'm not going to pull it out because I'm not sure how you put it back in, but it's a kind of unusual type of cable which comes with the steering wheel obviously and plugs in, and then once you've done that you plug the steering wheel itself into the computer via USB, which is just down there, and after that it works. And obviously with the PS3 it's the same USB inputs. There's also one kind of hidden function of the wheel, which is the only thing you don't see at face value, which is if you hold down the D-pad in the center and both of the rear paddles at the same time, then that light will begin to flash and it will engage high sensitivity mode. So if you want to use the steering wheel with a game where the in-game sensitivity adjustment isn't sufficient, then you can activate high sensitivity mode and that will most likely fix the problem. I actually did that for Test Drive Unlimited 2 because even on the highest settings it wasn't sensitive enough to drive with, but by activating high sensitivity mode that fixed the problem. So to conclude, the Thrustmaster Ferrari GT Experience is a very good racing wheel. All round it feels nice, it's a nice size, the buttons are in sensible places. So far it's been very reliable for me. It works for lots of games, robustly built, decent price. And my favourite thing about it is, unlike other wheels, it does have a very good bracket system. So basically, this is the bracket here, and you loosen it up by screwing this bolt thing at the bottom, clockwise or anti-clockwise, I can't remember, and that brings this whole bracket down, and then you just slide it onto the surface you want, like my desk, and then you screw the bolt the other way and that tightens it up. And because of the way it's got those little pads, it doesn't damage the surface, but it has a very tight grip and doesn't move at all when I'm violently wrenching it about playing Need for Speed and stuff like that. So yeah, other than that, onto the gameplay. If you have any doubts about whether to buy it or not, I say definitely go for it. Okay, so now I'm just going to play a bit of Test Drive Unlimited 2 with the steering wheel and pedals. One thing I forgot to mention earlier is the steering wheel is a 180-degree turn angle, which is perfectly sufficient. You can get 360-degree ones, but they tend to cost a couple of £100. For this kind of budget of 40-50 quid, you can't get a racing wheel with 360 degrees, but most racing games you might want to play don't actually have 360-degree turning wheels anyway, so you won't really notice the difference. So yeah, this is Test Drive Unlimited 2 with a Lotus Esprit, and I'm just going to drive around a bit. Manual gearbox. Whoa! That's how good I am at this game.
This is a real estate agency where you can buy and sell property.
It's very easy to spin out on this game. I've got all the driving aids off, so it's quite realistic. Okay, so that was Test Drive Unlimited 2 on PC. One thing you need to bear in mind is that Test Drive Unlimited 2 doesn't actually officially support this steering wheel. It's on the list of unofficially supported wheels. So it's not designed for the game, but it does work. All you have to do is go on the custom controls in the pause menu and map them to the steering wheel by pressing the appropriate buttons, and that will make it work. So it's not perfect, but it still works well enough to play the game nicely. The steering is more calibrated to games like Need for Speed Shift and things like that, Race Driver Grid, Dirt, that kind of thing. But yeah, that's about it for the review of the Thrustmaster GT Experience, Ferrari GT Experience. If you have any questions about it...
You can pan the camera
Shut up,
on the
woman.
exterior of your car.
If you have any questions about the steering wheel at all, then feel free to drop a comment on the video and I will help you out as best I can. But for now, that's it guys, and I will see you next time.